Hey everyone, Miss Dempsey here. Do you ever have one of those times where you have a really dumb idea and you know that if you do it, it's going to end up really bad? Well, that's going to be the case with this race. So we're doing Daily Race C in the Supra. And do you hear this sound? That is the sound of me already regretting this dumb idea. So the thing is that this was before the Audi TT Cup got the nerf. The time that you see on the right is the time I got with the Audi TT Cup since it was so dominant here with its really good acceleration. The Supra is, well, it's good on the turns, but it's pretty mediocre pretty much everywhere else. And we're about to see what time we're going to get, and we're going to get a 126.3, so we're basically almost 1 second slower than the Audi TT Cup. So things are going to go well, right? No, not really. And this is another thing that I have to worry about, is messing up on that turn before the corkscrew. And I know if I messes up, then it's not going to go well. And we're going to have 18 other people see that I'm in the Supra, and they're going to basically laugh at me and probably call me crazy, especially those who are starting in the Audi TT Cup.
I'm a guy. Thank you, whoever.
Thank you for the kind words, Postigo86 William. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with this, well, let's say ridiculous race. So we're starting in pole position, and our goal is going to try to hold up those TT Cups starting right behind me for as long as we can. The longer that we are able to hold them up, the better off we will be towards the long run, towards the end of the race. With a tire multiplier at times 6, the tire will be just bad enough to where the front wheel drives like the TT Cup will suffer in the second half of the race, and cars like my Supra will be able to be just fine if we can manage the tire wear just well enough. And the lights are about to go green, and here we go. We're getting started with 13 laps at Laguna Seca. And I'm not going to lie, I was really terrified of this race because I know that I am not in a meta car and that those TT Cups are going to chew me up alive. And as you can already see, you can tell I'm nervous because I already messed up the first turn, almost binned it at the very start of the race. And we're already going wide through this turn, and as the tires are starting to warm up, and I'm trying to calm my nerves down. So as you can see, there are two angry TT Cups hanging out right behind me. They're going to be doing their absolute best to try to get past me so they can try to start building that gap. And my job is to try to hold them back for as long as possible until the tower starts to kick in for them, and at that point they won't be able to do much. And with the incredible acceleration of the TT Cup at the time, it's going to be hard to not think about them as we start to go through the corkscrew, and we're going to end up sliding around a little bit as the Supra starts to do super things. So now I have another thing that I need to worry about. I need to make sure that the Supra doesn't do super things and tries to kill me, as one of the TT Cups does have a half-second penalty, so that is going to ease my mind off a bit as long as they don't get past me and don't go too far ahead. And in this main straight, this is where the Audi TT Cup is going to get the massive advantage, especially with my slipstream. So they're going to go ahead and try to get past me through a really weird direction. But he ends up going back to the left side as we have another TT Cup that is trying to go on the attack. The TT Cup that is next to me does get the overtake done, but it's not going to matter that much, as he's going to have to serve a half-second penalty for cutting at the corkscrew. As we're getting a little close and friendly with each other, does that result in a penalty? No penalty for any one of us. So we're just going to hang back right behind this TT Cup, get the slipstream, try to accelerate a little bit faster. They serve the penalty, we're going to get right past him, and we're going to keep playing a game called Holding Them Up. And things are already getting pretty feisty, and we're only on lap 2. Those TT Cups know what they need to do, they know what's at stake, so they need to do whatever they can to try to get past me, and I'm just going to do my best to hold them up and basically ruin their race by being right in front of them. And we're going to go through the corkscrew nice and easy, just making sure that the Supra doesn't do any super things. And in a moment, we're going to be taking a look at one of the TT Cups, as once again, as I mentioned earlier in the race, they do have to worry a lot more about the tire wear. So we're on board with the TT Cup that is behind me, and you can see that he's being a lot more careful on the brakes and a lot more careful on the throttle, as these cars are front wheel drives, and basically the front wheels do all of the work. They do all the accelerating, the turning, and the braking. And as a TT Cup is trying to poke on 3 and does poke on over to the green stuff, and he's going to end up picking up a half-second penalty for cutting the track. So he is going to break through for a bit, but just like the other car in the last lap, he's going to have to serve that penalty, so he's going to end up behind us once again. As long as the other TT Cup right behind me doesn't do anything silly, then we should be able to overtake him nice and easy without much effort. So he's going to go ahead and serve the penalty, and we're going to pass him right on by, leaving just enough space for him on the left side of the track. Luckily, we're able to get past him, and we're going to keep on holding them up. And I do gotta say, I'm going to pause it right here. And you can see that I'm holding up not 1, not 2, but 4 Audi TT Cups. Imagine holding up 4 Audi TT Cups in a Supra in 2021. Oh my gosh. That's something that you don't get to say every day, especially when they were this dominant. And I bet it's going to be a lot easier to say that now, especially as the TT Cup and the other front-wheel drive cars got nerfed to the ground in the recent BOP update. But in this case, they were not nerfed yet. The TT Cup and the other front-wheel drive cars were still really darn good. So I just think it's really funny that this is happening. And we're going back to the Audi TT Cup, just taking a quick look at the tire wear, and their tire wear is already starting to get slightly worse than ours. And he knows what's at stake here. He knows he has to get the overtake done. I'm going to go on the defensive to try to hold my position, but he's going to end up trying to get the overtake done on the outside, and he's actually going to get it work. Man, those brakes on the Audi TT Cup were something else. As the TT Cup makes his way through, the other Audi TT Cup is going to try to break on through as well. He knows that he needs to get past me as well, and I'm going to try to give him the space if he wants to sneak on by, and he is going to sneak on by. The Megane Trophy behind us is trying to hang out with us as well. So now that the 2 TT Cups in the front have broke on through, our job is going to try to hang back behind them as much as we can and just try to keep up with them. As the TT Cup in front of us ends up going a bit wide and ends up building sandcastles, we're going to go ahead and slip on by. And the TT Cup that is in first place is now starting to push a bit more. He knows that he needs to try to get the heck away from us, as the tire wear is eventually going to bring him down, and it's going to give him a lot of trouble. In the meantime, I am not within the 3/4 of a second gap behind him, so I am not under the slipstream, and he has the perfect opportunity to try to get the getaway done, as he does end up going a bit wide through that last turn. And the Megane Trophy is not too far behind us. He is in our slipstream, and hopefully we don't fight it out, because if we start to fight it out, we're going to lose a lot of time, and that is going to give the TT Cup in first place an opportunity to completely get away from us and make it impossible to catch up to him. So we're just going to be doing our thing for the next couple of turns, just trying our best to eventually catch up to him. And we do need to take care of our tires as well, because tire wear is a problem for all of us. It's just that for some of us, the tire wear problem is a bit worse. And with the Supra, it's all right on the tires. I'm not gonna say it's the best, but at least in this case, it is, well, it's serviceable. So let's go ahead and fast forward through this. I am eventually catching up to him, as he is making small mistakes here and there that is allowing me to slowly catch up to him. And he's going to end up getting a really weird exit through that turn, not sure what happened, and that is going to put us back under his slipstream. We did get away from the car in third place, the Megane Trophy, so we are able to try to get away from him and make it just a 2-car battle for now. Now at this point, I am asking myself whether I should try to go for the move sometime soon, or if I should just hang back right behind him. And for now, as he ends up going a bit wide, but luckily he was able to keep control of the car, but for now, we're just going to hang back right behind him. We're going to try to do a little bit of tire saving ourselves because we are going to need that tire life for the end of the race. And TT Cup that we are looking at now, his tires are dirty, so his pace will suffer for a bit. And we're not going to make the attack yet, especially on the main street that is coming up, as we need his slipstream to keep up with them. Unfortunately, this does mean that the car in third place, the McGann Trophy, is going to eventually catch up with us, at least just enough to be within our slipstream. Or not, it looks like he is just barely out of it for now. As the TT Cup is still having a bit of trouble, looks like he still has the dirty tire effect going on, so we are just going to hang back right behind him, and we're going to go for the overtake. It looks like this will be the spot where we will have to try to get the overtake done. If we try to do it on the main straight, it's just not going to be possible, as the TT Cup has much better acceleration than us. And taking a look at his tires again, his tires are still getting slightly worse and worse than us, as the front tires are taking in all of the tire wear, and with us, we're just trying to keep our tire wear nice and even. And we're still going to be trying to take care of our tires, just trying to think about the long run, especially in the last couple of laps, as we're going to need it, especially if any other cars behind us decide to hang out with us. And it looks like that might actually end up being the case later down the line, as we still have the McGann Trophy not too far behind us, and we do have a McLaren that is slowly catching up to us, so I'm especially going to have to worry about that car, as the McLaren is pretty much better than the Supra in, well, almost every way. But for now, let's not worry about the McLaren, let's worry about this TT Cup. And we're going to fast forward through this in a bit, because a whole lot of nothing is going to happen, as the TT Cup is slowly starting to struggle more and more with the tire wear. You can see that he's starting to have to go slower through these turns, and I'm having an easier time keeping up with him. So at this point, I think he knows that he's in big trouble, and he's going to get a bad exit to this turn. I'm going to see if we can try to get the attack done, try to overtake him from the outside, but no, we're not going to be able to get the overtake done, as the McGann Trophy is now hanging out with us. He's going to get a better exit, so we're going to go ahead and let him on by. We're going to see if the McGann Trophy can try to get the TT Cup to brake, force him into an error, and then we can both just slip on by. The TT Cup did brake a bit late. He is going a bit wide, and he's starting to defend for his life. He knows he's in trouble. Can he defend his position from the McGann Trophy? And he's going to be able to hold his position for now, but this next turn is not going to help him any much, and he's going to end up going through this turn a bit slowly. The McGann Trophy just hanging out right behind him. I'm hanging out right behind the Trophy as well, and we're trying to force the TT Cup into an error, as the McGann Trophy ends up bumping into the TT Cup and ends up picking a 1 second penalty for that little lovely kiss. And with that, we're pretty much going to be able to pass the McGann Trophy in the next lap, as he ends up going a bit wide and building sandcastles as well. And we're just going to go ahead and pass him by. Okay, guess we don't have to wait for him to serve the penalty. So now we're back to square one, two. But anyways, we're hanging out right behind him in the Audi TT Cup. The tires are pretty much already gone at this point, and it's pretty much all downhill from here. We're going to be hanging out right behind him once again. We're going to wait until we're about halfway or a quarter of a way into the next lap before we can try to get the overtake done. Unless if we can do it now. Can we get the overtake done? No, his acceleration is still too good even with worn tires, so we're forced to hang back behind him again. The McLaren is pretty much right behind us, and he's actually been doing really well as we end up tapping the TT Cup. Do we get a penalty? No, it looks like the game knows that we are in a Supra, feels sorry for us, and decides to let us go. So we're going to be hanging back right behind the TT Cup again. The McLaren not too far behind us, or more like right behind us. And he gets a bad exit. We're going to try to sneak on through to the left, and it looks like that's not going to be a good idea, as we get a lovely little kiss. We end up building sandcastles for a bit. And here's the thing, I do keep the car under control, and I look for the 2 board as my braking point, except I'm going to realize that I braked way too late, and I'm going to end up sliding into the McLaren, almost take him out. Luckily he was able to stay on the track and he ends up getting a 1-second penalty. The penalty system is doing great, said no one ever. And at this point, I should have realized that I should have let him by, as that was a bit of a jerk thing of me to do. But because my tires were dirty and I was still terrified because I'm doing this race in the Supra, I completely forgot to let him on by. But luckily, he is eventually going to pass us, so hopefully all is forgiven. Hopefully. As the Audi TT Cup does go a bit wide, he knows his tires are pretty much gone, and we're going to be going 3 wide down the main straight. We're going to both pass the TT Cup, and the McLaren is eventually going to pass me and try to secure the first place position, trying to stay on the inside line. I'm going to go a bit wide and just try to slot myself in between the McLaren and the TT Cup. But the McLaren does still have to serve a 1-second penalty. But because the TT Cup behind us is having bad problems with the tire and is slowing him down so much, the McLaren might only end up losing 1 position instead of 2. So we're going to see what happens right now as he serves a penalty, and he's going to be able to keep 2nd place, just barely keeping the car just ahead of the TT Cup, and he's going to do his best to try to play catch up. Luckily, he doesn't have to do too much work, as 1 lap later, he's going to end up right behind us. Yeah, the McLaren is going to end up having a much better pace than the Supra and ends up easily catching up to us as the car gets a bit squirmy. And I'm just trying to do my best to try to keep the car holding it together and just try to defend my position from the McLaren. And I'm going to defend my position right here, and he's going to try to get an overtake down from the outside. Is he going to get it to work? And it looks like he's barely going to get it to work. Just hang on the outside, land right on the curbs, and he's able to get first place. And with the acceleration of the McLaren, he's going to easily be able to get ahead of us down the main straight. And now it's just a matter of trying to keep up with the McLaren and try to force him into error, because just on pace itself, it's going to be really hard for the Supra to keep up with the McLaren. So our job is just to try to stay within the slipstream, try to force him into error, and hopefully we'll be able to get first place that way. Both of our tires are pretty worn out. We have around the same tire wear. His is a tiny bit better than ours. So I'm just trying to do my best to not mess this up. And we're just going to have to wait until the very end, and hopefully he makes a mistake as we end up going through this turn before the corkscrew. We end up going a bit wide and our tires are dirty. Luckily, I anticipated that happening. I was able to ease off the throttle right away, and the car didn't really act too negatively. And at this point, our tires are dirty, so the McLaren is going to have an easy time getting away from us. And all we pretty much can do now is just try to nurse the car home and try not to mess anything up. We can't really push the car too much anymore, and first place has pretty much gotten away with the win. We have just 1 more turn. Luckily, 3rd place is well behind us, and that is going to be pretty much it. We were able to nurse the car home, and somehow we were able to finish 2nd place in the Supra of all cars. And we were able to finish ahead of every single TT Cup in this lobby. And I honestly thought that I was going to finish in 10th place, but we finished in 2nd place. So after all the shenanigans, I'm actually really happy to get this result. And I can finally breathe a bit easier now, because I was able to somehow survive this terrifying race in the Supra. And yeah, pro tip, never use the Supra before. And yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. And this was a really dumb idea that somehow worked. But if a dumb idea works, was it dumb to begin with? It was still a dumb idea. This is something that shouldn't have worked, but just somehow did. But yeah, I do want to get to know this car a bit better, because I think it can still be a decent car, especially now that the TT Cups and other front-wheel drive cars have been nerfed. So I think this car can stand out a bit better. But anyways, that is pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you guys liked it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed all the shenanigans that happened in this video. And if you did, you can press the like button, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I have Patreon, which you can check out in the description down below. But anyways, that's all for me. I'm going to sign off now. So this is Mr. CA being terrified of the Supra, and I'll see you in the next video.